When I did my ASRock Desk Mini review for you guys, a lot of people were very curious about this, the G4500 with the HD530 graphics on board. That's right, pronounced with a H, not a H. So today I'm going to be running some more tests. People wanted to see if the HD530 could play World of Warcraft Legion and also Overwatch, and I'll run that for you guys. But I'm also going to test a single channel DDR4 memory stick versus dual channel to see if it actually affects graphics performance, and if so, by how much. Welcome to Tech City, this is Brian coming to you guys today with a video on the HD530 graphics in the G4500. Now this is a CPU that honestly is pretty damn awesome for the money, and it's actually surprising how far those HD graphics have come in years. So the first test I did here was WoW Legion. I booted it up 1080p settings with the graphics slider set to 2, and I was really shocked because this was actually a playable experience at 1080p. Even with the view distance set all the way to 10, I was getting a decent experience, one that I could actually enjoy on this CPU if that was all I had for gaming. Though when I dropped it down to 720p, it was butter smooth. So that was really good. Moving over to Overwatch, that was a similar story. 1080p with the render scale set to 50% on all low settings, I was getting around 40 to 60 frames per second. Dropping that down to 720p, again increased those frame rates to a really smooth experience. Both experiences which I could handle if this was my only solution that I had. So there we have it, 1080p, Overwatch and WoW Legion. This CPU can definitely handle it. Now moving on to memory, for single channel versus dual channel, I actually did a different test here where I took out one of the sticks of memory. So essentially it's going to be 4 GB versus 8 GB, but still I decided to boot up titles like League of Legends and CSGO, which essentially don't need more than 4 GB of memory. And so the first test here was League of Legends, which was pretty much the apples to apples because I went on the same lane, I had the same hero, and what we saw here was a significant difference between single channel versus dual channel on the HD530 graphics. So that was a big eye opener for me because it made a big difference, a significant difference in my opinion. And then moving on to CSGO, it made a big difference in this game as well, actually being the deciding factor between a choppy experience and a smooth experience. So it's kind of interesting to see that if you're using the onboard graphics, you'll definitely want to go with dual channel memory for the onboard HD graphics in Skylake CPUs. Though as for the actual playable experience, this thing handled those games absolutely fine. And since it is the cheapest solution with the HD530 graphics on board, that's the same graphics solution going in the 6700 and 6700K, I was really impressed with what this brings to the table, especially when I compare it to like 4 years ago. I remember building a PC back in 2012, I think it was, where I was waiting for the GTX 670 to be released. And I think it was 2011, man, I forgot, but it was a while ago. But I had a 3570K, and I remember I built that before the GTX 670 released because, you should build your computers before big graphics card releases because the prices will go up after the graphics card releases. But that's another story for another day. But I remember building that, and then I was like, yeah, the 3570K's onboard graphics, that should hold me out until the GTX 670 is released. And boy, was I wrong. It couldn't even play World of Warcraft at the lowest settings on the lowest resolution. I was getting like 15 frames per second. It was just complete nightmare. It was so choppy. I could not enjoy this, sometimes dipping down to like 8 or 7 FPS. It was an absolute joke. Needless to say, nowadays the HD graphics, you can actually play games on them reliably and competitively if you drop all your settings down to low. I know a lot of people in the comment sections are like, Brian, you should be playing at 720p if you're competitive with everything set to low. And that's the funny thing, this thing will get you good frame rates. So there you have it, guys. HD530 graphics are no joke nowadays. And it's actually good to see that this is a really good CPU. I picked it up for like $50 secondhand, and then I chucked it in the Desk Mini. So I can highly recommend it to someone who wants to set up something like a Desk Mini on a budget and have like power savings there, and just have something that's really portable. So anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit that like button. And if there's any questions about the G4500 and its onboard graphics, then let me know in the comments section below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Anyway guys, I'll catch you in another tech video very soon. Peace out for now. Bye. Cost box, especially in something like this, So I can highly recommend it to someone who wants to set up something really small, mini, power conscious, if that's even a word.